This is just a very brief introduction to solving inequalities. And so for the first one here, solve it in exactly the same way as you would solve an equation. And what we're going to do here is to collect all the x's on the side where the greatest number of x's currently are, and that is on the right hand side. So let us subtract x from both sides, which will then leave us with a negative 5 less than x plus 1. And now to isolate the x on its own, subtract the 1 from the right hand side, keep it balanced, subtract the 1 from the left hand side, and therefore we have negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6, which is then less than x. Or we can rewrite that to have the x on the left. X is going to be greater than negative 6. Okay, let's just check that again. So minus negative 6 is less than x, and x is greater than negative 6. So here is the same one again. This time, I'm just going to see one of the rules that we need to remember with this. We're going to collect all the x's on the left hand side, and to do that we're going to subtract the 2x from the right hand side and keep it balanced, subtract the 2x from the left hand side, and so we end up with negative x minus 5 is less than 1. To isolate the x on the left we need to do the opposite, the inverse, and add 5. Keep it balanced both sides, so we end up with negative x is less than 6. And to make sure that x is positive here, let's multiply by negative 1 on both sides, and we end up with x is less than negative 6. Now it's at this point here that you need to be aware that if you're multiplying by a negative, the inequality sign has to change. So x is greater than negative 6, which on the previous page that was the answer that was gotten to. So the thing to remember from this then is that when multiplying by a negative, the inequality needs to change. So thinking ahead, you could perhaps solve inequalities without ever multiplying by a negative, just by rearranging, adding and subtracting, and therefore you don't need to worry about remembering that rule. But otherwise, do remember that multiplying by a negative means that you need to change the inequality sign.